Okay, hi guys. So we have gone through at this point most of the major Adobe products. We still have to talk about Dreamweaver and Muse, the web products, but there's one of the great triumvirate that we have not covered yet. That is Adobe Illustrator. Now, Adobe Illustrator comes with the Creative Suite. You probably have it if you have the full suite on your computer. But since a lot of people might be just getting the applications a la carte, it was not one of the main ones listed on this course. So, or was it? I can't remember if it was listed in the course catalog or not for this course. But regardless, it is one of the big three Adobe products. So we really should spend some time getting to know what it is and what it does. So Adobe Illustrator is a vector graphics program. We talked about raster graphics, which is basically what we use in Photoshop, images made up of pixels. The idea is that you have bitmaps of pixels that combined together display an image. This is how television sets work and things like that. The other kind of digital graphic is the raster graphic. The vector graphic. Excuse me, I'm still recovering, so if I cough from time to time, you'll have to excuse me. Vector graphics. Vector graphics are determined by math. Basically, you give a point and then another point, and on a screen, and using mathematical formulae, the computer determines the shape. So any 3 points you define, you can get a triangle out of that. And there are a number of tools that let us create the shapes we want in vector graphics. So to begin with, the thing that you're most often required to do with Photoshop is retouch photographs. It's probably the most common thing you'll ever be asked to do with Photoshop. With Illustrator, one of the other most common things you get asked to do when you're doing digital projects is digital inking. Digital inking is taking a drawing that was done by hand or something like that and inking it for publishing. So in the old days, when we would have to ink a drawing, whether it be a blueprint or a illustration for a scientific journal or something like that, we would get it and then we'd have to get out the India ink and a brush or a pen and trace over the image so that it was nice and bold for the publishers who use giant scanners or which don't often pick up pencil drawings. So to illustrate this, I did a really quick image of an anime character here, and we're going to open it with Adobe Illustrator. So it's just a really fast sketch of a cat girl that I did, and we're going to digitally ink it, or I'll show you how to digitally ink something like this in Illustrator. So first of all, we want to zoom in, so we're looking at what we want to do. You have a number of tools over here. This should seem fairly similar, the Adobe layout. You got the selection tool, direct selection tool, magic wand tool. The selection tool lets you select a path. The direct selection tool often lets you select a point. Magic wand tool, same as in Photoshop. Lasso tool, similar to Photoshop. The pen tool is your basic go-to item in Adobe Illustrator, and it's since been included in Adobe Photoshop. So if you've been playing around with that, you'll it'll seem a little familiar to you. It was really created for creating our points to make our vector graphics in Illustrator. There's a variation on it, a curvature tool, a type tool, line segment tool, rectangle tool. Of course, all of these have their variants. So the rectangle tool you can get, as you might expect, an ellipse or a star or something like that. The paintbrush tool, shaper tool, eraser tool, rotate tool. Most of these are things that you may be familiar with from the other Adobe applications. A scale tool, width tool, free transform tool, shape builder tool, perspective grid tool, mesh tool, a gradient tool, an eyedropper, blend, symbol sprayer, column graph. Now we're getting into the tools that are very specific and not used all that often. Artboard tool, slice tool, the hand tool, which works just like all the other programs where you can just grab it and drag it around. Magnifying glass, which is your zoom tool to zoom in and out. We've already seen that because I zoomed in on this. Then at the bottom, you'll see you basically have your fill and your stroke again. So since we're dealing with a inking here, we're going to want no fill, and we'll have a black stroke, and we'll keep it at the default 1 point. So then I like to zoom in real close on what I want to do. So I click and drag with the zoom tool, and that allows me to zoom in on exactly the part I want. As you can see, this was really fast, so there's parts like this here, and you can see down here the neck crosses the chin line. So one of the things I'm going to be doing in Illustrator is not just inking it, but sort of cleaning it up at the same time. Okay, so now let's take the pen tool and we create a point here. So I don't want to start here. I'm cleaning this up. So I'm going to do this ear and I'm going to start it here. I create an anchor point and then I just follow along with my mouse the path here and I draw another anchor point. But that just gives us a straight line. If we want a curved line like this, what we do is we click somewhere and drag it out a little. And that creates this curve using math that was created actually for the aircraft and automotive industry.